Because of Pentecost on Sunday, it's a long weekend in the Netherlands, so I'm taking the opportunity to visit another Dutch city I haven't been to before. This time it's Maastricht, way down in the south of the Netherlands, so let's see what it's like here. I had booked a few tours at the local Fort St. Petersburg and the caves in the surrounding area for right when I had arrived, so I went and did those first. It was pretty cool. Fort St. Petersburg is a pretty old fort, originally built in the 1200s-ish, but added to and expanded over time. We saw all the different parts of the fort, the tunnels below the fort, the barracks, and the interior parts, as well as going up to the top and seeing the view from up above. It was all pretty cool. So the tour guide said that those windmills over there are in Belgium. Those windmills over there are in Belgium. And that smokestack over there is also in Belgium. So we're surrounded by Belgium on three sides. Time for tour number 2, the caves. I learned a lot about the history of these caves. They were originally natural caves, but were expanded over time by quarrying, cutting large limestone blocks out of the walls for use in building things. People have used these caves for lots of different things over the centuries as safe havens during wars and such. But during the quarrying process, they often found lots of fossils because limestone comes from ancient seabeds. And what was really interesting is the very first mosasaur bones were found here. And actually they're named after this area. Mosa is the French word for the river Meuse, which is the river that runs through Maastricht. So when the French scientists accompanying the armies during the Napoleonic Wars found the bones in this area, they named it after the river Meuse. It's bright out here. The city walls. The only bits of it that are still standing. Maastricht is in the province of Limburg, which is in the southeast corner of the Netherlands. It's surrounded on three sides by Belgium and Germany, and it's very kind of separated off from the rest of the Netherlands. It's the only place in the country that actually has some real hills. They're not mountains, definitely, but they're actual hills that, you know, take a bit to climb and stuff. For actually most of history, Limburg was its own separate duchy. It wasn't actually part of the Netherlands. It just was also ruled by the king of the Netherlands. So it basically was part of the Netherlands, but not officially. So there's kind of this Limburgish identity here. You see the Limburg flag a lot more than the Dutch flag, stuff like that. Day 2. So on this cool Sunday morning, I decided to come out here to this kind of cool place called the Drie Landenpunt, or the Three Countries Point. It's the corner of the borders between the Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium. It also just so happens to be the highest point in the Netherlands. So yeah, took the bus from Maastricht about 45 minutes, and now I'm walking up to that area. The Drie Landenpunt this way. This must be a pretty tall mountain. It's very windy up here. Here it is. De hoogste punt van Nederland, the highest point in the Netherlands. 322.5 meters above average sea level. Right there. Pretty neat. I climbed a whole 322 meters. That's like 900 feet. Maybe 1,000 feet elevation. Here we are. We have Belgium, Netherlands, and Germany. It feels like they didn't divide this very evenly. I feel like the Netherlands kind of gypped out a little bit. Boom. Left foot in Germany, right foot in Belgium, and my body's with the Netherlands. Just hanging out here in Germany for 5 minutes before I head back to the Netherlands. Looks pretty much the same as Netherlands from here. One thing about the Three Countries corner over there that I'm surprised it didn't have any signs about was that it used to be the Four Countries corner, the Vier Landenpunt, because there used to be an independent state of Saarland in what's now part of Germany. After World War II, the Allies broke off a little bit of Germany to be a little independent country. And one of its corners was right there alongside Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands. So there used to be 4 countries with their borders joining right there, but now it's only 3. On the way to the Drie Landenpunt, the bus went right past a very interesting place that I definitely had to check out on my way back. It's the American National Cemetery in the Netherlands. If you've seen the pictures of the grass fields with the thousands and thousands of white crosses that are in Normandy in France, this is a very similar thing in the Netherlands for all of the battles that took place here. This cemetery, or begraafplaats in Dutch, is where all the American soldiers who died during the liberation of Belgium and the Netherlands, as well as the push into the Ruhr Valley in Germany, if they died during those offensives, they were buried here, including all of the paratroopers who died during Operation Market Garden, when they tried to land thousands of paratroopers ahead of the advancing lines into Germany and the Netherlands to capture key bridges, and that went horribly wrong and many soldiers died. So a lot of the soldiers here are from those operations. Another wild rooster. I had still a few more hours before I had to head back to Enschede, so I went around and checked out all of the major churches The previous day they had all been closed because it was Saturday, but on Sunday they were all open. So I went around and checked out the inside of all 4 major churches in Maastricht. I'm sitting here in front of the Basilica of Saint Servus. Saint Servus was a saint in the 3rd century from Armenia who came here to Maastricht to spread Christianity during the Roman Empire times. Apparently the tour guide said that this weekend, or this next weekend, is a very huge procession. So all of the churches here are Catholic churches because it's in the south of the Netherlands. And so there's a major procession that goes on. It happens once every 7 years, and there's going to be over 10,000 people here visiting to see the procession, and over 3,000 people in the procession itself. So I don't know, maybe I should have come here next weekend, but I have a feeling it would be way too busy next weekend, so this is fine. I tried to go into the inside of the Basilica of Saint Servus, but while I was in there, something very strange happened. So the basilica was closed today, but I happened to get there. I walked in 1 minute before an exclusive exhibition on some Roman era bronzes were being shown. And so I walked in the doors, was reading a sign in Dutch, and then some guy said like, "Come with me," and like he quickly ushered me through up this tiny spiral staircase up into the ceiling of the basilica. And then I sat there for an hour listening to a lecture in Dutch about these 5 Roman bronzes and another sculpture they made to replicate them. But we were like up in the attic of the church in like this really cool old stone room. So it was really weird, but I guess a good use of an hour, sure. Well, this was a pretty interesting time in Maastricht and Limburg. I definitely learned some things I did not know about this area before. Yeah, pretty good time. I guess time to get on a train and head back home. And that was my first little travel experience in the Netherlands since living here. I'm sure I'll visit some more areas, and I want to try to visit each of the cities in the country, so this might be the first in a series of little travel videos.